Hey all of you Star Wars fans, it's Emily Boss here talking about Star Wars Battlefront 3. Today in the Star Wars Battlefront 3 series, we'll be talking about Playable Jedi and Bounty Hunters. The reason I'm making this video is because for quite a while now, a lot of the community has spoken about, wanting to play as Jedi and Bounty Hunters. A lot of, the people that are excited for Star Wars Battlefront 3 really want to play that as them. And, I've heard a lot of it. I've heard a lot of, especially Jedi. And, I think it'd be a great idea because Jedi and Bounty Hunters have a lot of more different abilities and uniqueness compared to your regular soldier, your regular battle droid, regular rebel. So I think it'd be really great. It makes stuff unique. And I'll putting this into two sections. One talking about the Jedi, one talking about the Bounty Hunters, talking about kind of what I want to, be in there and stuff, and kind of what I think should be done to make them unique and done right. I think it'd be really cool. Bounty Hunters and Jedi both. They're both really cool parts of Star Wars, and they're like one of the most interesting parts and unique parts of the Star Wars galaxy. So I think it's a great thing. I'll be talking about Jedi first, and then Bounty Hunters. So I'll be talking about Jedi's first. So here's my kind of talk about what I think it needs to be done for the Jedi. With the Jedi, you can do a lot of stuff with the Jedi, and I think it's really cool because, with the Jedi and the Sith, being on both separate sides, they both have different kind of force powers, making diversity between each team, which would, I think, help a lot, making them different. And, with the Jedi, you would have the force push, the force pull, of course, and, with the new, because it's dice and frostbite and having destructible terrain, we can now do a thing where, force gripping objects and throwing them at enemies. And however, it shouldn't be, super crazy like, because, you are just a team and you can't be too overpowered. Like if it's Jedi versus clone troopers, you can't be super powered, like a Coruscant, the Battle of Coruscant, and it's, Jedi versus clone troopers, you can't be too overpowered, but it'd still be cool to see those physics in there where you could actually force grip a piece of a pillar in Coruscant and throw it at some enemies. And however, it wouldn't do super amount of damage. I mean, it could kill somebody, of course, but it can't do too much damage because then it'd be too overpowered. But I think it could be help good in a lot of ways. And then on the Sith side, being different, you have force lightning, force choke, force, and then you also for both sides you have lightsaber throw. And then that can be mixed up into different combinations into different classes, like the Sith Inquisitor would have lightning, and could have force choke, and then like Sith Marauder or something. I'm kind of thinking of ideas from other games. Sith Marauder could have really good lightsaber skills, could have really powerful lightsaber skills, and like a lightsaber throw, and stuff like that. It's just, I think it'd be really cool to see different classes, different combinations, and we can kind of see some new stuff as well. Like, like I said, different physics. You could move stuff, force throw stuff too, so you can do a lot of things, and I think it would be really cool with Jedi, especially with the new physics engine. And there could be a lot of, because destructible terrain and stuff, there could be a lot of interactable terrain, like with force lightning, like let's say I don't know, you're on I'm trying to think of an area, Kashyyyk, and there's like a puddle of water somewhere. Or like you're in the ocean, and there are stormtroopers, or they're like clone troopers or something, or somebody like that, or like rebels, and they're basically in the water. If you're a Sith Inquisitor and you have force lightning, you can force lightning the water, and then basically electricity and water, how they go together, and they can just like zap all the stormtroopers, and it could be used in a lot of ways to interact with the environment. In a lot of cool and interesting ways, and like again with the force grip and throwing stuff and force choke, I think it could be used in a lot of interactable stuff, and it could really make it feel like an actual world, especially with destructible terrain, which I definitely believe they should have. I know in the last video I said, I was kind of, even though I said it, I was still kind of like wondering like should they have destructible terrain, but I do think they should. I think they should. I don't know about some places though, because I don't know if it would just change too much. I don't know if they should overdo it, like do everything, but I think a lot of the stuff should be, be able to be destroyed or changed, especially with the force gripping and the force throwing. And I think Jedi would be really cool with interactable stuff as well. And of course, also with the Jedi's and Sith, you can have different combinations of lightsabers too. You can have the dual bladed lightsaber. You can have one lightsaber. You can dual wield lightsabers. Two lightsabers in two hands, two separate lightsabers. So there's a lot of combinations of that too. And it'd be actually kind of cool with customization to customize your lightsaber blade. Either be purple, blue, yellow. Whatever side you're on. It could be red, depending on if you're Sith or Jedi, of course. So that could be cool with customization as well. So yeah. Also with the lightsabers, it can be interchangeable as well with kind of going with the combat and kind of what their role is. So yeah. So now I'll be talking about playable bounty hunters. Now talking about the bounty hunters, there's a lot of stuff we can do with the different classes. Flamethrowers, grappling hooks, jetpacks, rockets, all of that kind of stuff. You can have multiple classes. One with a flamethrower, one with more of a kind of a crowd control kind of objective. With the flamethrower, being able to kind of try to get a lot of people in a small area and try to like hurt them over time from the fire, trying to take out a lot of enemies even after they've retreated or something like that. You have your your jetpack. You have your sniper. You can you could jetpack in the sky and then be a sniper and snipe people and be death from above. Really, there's a lot of stuff you could do with playable bounty hunter classes. And I think it'd be really cool. Bounty hunters have a lot of cool gadgets in a lot of ways. You could have droids and stuff like that too. Like in Battlefront 2, where the marksman class or sniper class had like a droid. Bounty hunter class could have one too, because that kind of fits in with bounty hunters and stuff. You could have assassins. They could have the invisibility cloaks. Stuff like that. Bounty hunters can be very diverse. They could change a lot, and bounty hunters use a lot of gadgets. A lot of their gadgets could be used. A lot of different stuff like that, and I think it'd be really cool to have a playable bounty hunter class, and of course that hero or villain would be Boba Fett or Jango Fett, so that'd be really cool. Or to be quite honest, you could use other bounty hunters as well, like IG-88, the droid bounty hunter, if you know what he is, and other bounty hunters too. I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I think it'd be really cool. And quite honestly, when I think about IG-88, it'd be actually kind of cool to be a droid bounty hunter. There are droid bounty hunters. There's assassin droids, stuff like that. That'd be cool as well to have a droid class. So yeah, I think in a lot of ways bounty hunters can be pretty used. Used in many different ways. And with that too could come like a lot of different kind of maps and stuff as well. I will be making a video on kind of map ideas I have, but I've been thinking of like a Star Wars, even though Star Wars 1313 is canceled, hopefully maybe they could do a Star Wars 1313, Coruscant, level 1313. That'd actually be really cool to have a map like that. And yeah, I would really like that actually. That'd be kind of cool. And I think that would be something interesting and new, and in a lot of ways you could, I don't know, something could happen like you're on like but you know what? I'll talk about that later in my one of my other videos, kind of thinking about that. But Star Wars 1313 would definitely be a great thing to have in there. Well, that's kind of all I have to talk about playable Jedi and playable bounty hunters. I definitely think they should be in there. That'd be a really cool addition, having different classes, other different, and they would have their own specialties too, because Jedis and bounty hunters are different from your typical clone troopers, stormtroopers, rebels, battle droids. So I think it give a little bit more diversity in the gameplay and in different teams and stuff. And I think bounty hunters and playable Jedi are a really big thing, and I totally believe in them. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. It'd really help me. And just remember one thing: never underestimate the power of the dark side.